What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Catalyst Movement interview series. Today, I start every podcast interview by saying that, hey, we got a really great one today. But once again, we're delivering. We got a really, really great one today. I'm joined by the legendary Shanan Steere, and we're going to talk about all things attraction, recruiting, connections, her involvement in the industry over the past decade and the
29.
Oh my gosh, yeah. A couple of decades and the amazing impact she's had on the industry and has had on her. Without any further delay, Shanan, what's up? How are you?
Great, David. How are you doing today?
I'm good, I'm good. So give us a little bit of a background on you. You've done a lot, you've seen a lot, you've been in a lot of great rooms and places. How did it all start? Like give me the brief version of how did we get here today?
Okay, brief version is I had the opportunity right out of college to work for two Fortune 100 companies and got the most amazing sales training ever, pharmaceutical and in surgery. And they kept changing my quota at the end of every year because I would outsell everybody. And so I got into real estate. And that was in 1997. I sold about 550 homes my first 8 years with just an admin as a single agent. And I kept hitting the ceiling of how do I build a team? How do I build a team? And so I joined a company, Keller Williams at the time in '04. I opened up a franchise in '05. I then became the CEO team leader in '06 of the largest market center in our region because I fell in love with recruiting. And in our franchise, we recruited 100 agents our first year. And then I went on to take that market center from number 100 to 25 in profit in 2.5 years by pulling two levers. Number one, recruiting top agents. Number two, building productivity. Then I went back to be the operating principal of my old office and got recruited by International to become a leadership coach. I then went on for 7 years to do about 7,000 coaching calls on recruiting and attraction, while also teaching a fabulous program called Bold, 7-week mindset sales. And I traveled primarily in the Northeast and the Southeast because they wanted a tough chick to go up in the Northeast. I know that surprises you, David. And I only flew with time to come home because I live in Central Time. So I never could go west because I couldn't get home the same day. And it was important for me with my kids to only be out one day. So I was a head Bold coach. I taught Bold for 7 years. I've taken about 3,500 agents through Bold. I've been on all kinds of panels at national meetings. And in 2015, I actually had a major health crash and my colon blew up. And so it was actually a huge blessing because it got me out of the high stress I was living in and I relaunched my team. And in my first year back, I sold 53 transactions just with an admin. And then we got up to 127 deals in 3 years. And then I got back into the coaching side again. And fast forward, now I'm with this crazy, awesome new company because of you and Shannon called LPT Realty. And I am so excited to be here. And literally right now, I am partnered with one of my old college girlfriends who you know well, Shanan Dozer, and
Yes,
we're
she's the
building a super
best.
team
Big
together.
fans of Shanan. Big fans of the Shannons. We'll put it that way.
That's what we're called, the Shanans. And, right now we have 4 agents on our team. We're doing about 100 deals with four. Next year, our goal is to do over 160, and then we'll go back up from there.
Yeah, that's
So,
awesome. Yeah.
in a nutshell.
How did it feel to condense 20 plus years into, 3.5 minutes of explanation?
Fortunately, I've done it quite a few times because I've taught so many classes. And currently, I do teach the 12-week year as a certified trainer for the opters.
Yeah, we're
And
excited to talk about the 12-week year. That's a big one.
that's a really big one that actually changed my team and it's changed a lot of the teams that I currently coach.
Awesome. Okay, so when you take that kind of an introspective look and you're condensing like a bio like that, like what when you think of all the versions of Shanan that you've been and all the roles that you've played and all the jobs that you've done, what comes to mind? Like what do you like how do you describe a journey like that? Like when you think about it, like what words come to mind?
I've been told this before, and I really believe it's true that the last 29 years have prepared me for greatness in the next 10.
Yeah.
And it's all the different experience compacted together and it multiplies. And I will tell you the training and coaching experience and education that I've had and development of those two skills really has set me up for attracting agents to our team, attracting agents to LPT, and coaching our team and then coaching other teams, which, my favorite is coaching and training, David. If you could put me up in front of a room and teach the 12-week year and I can move that many businesses and help that many people to go get better production in less time, that fills my heart.
Awesome. No, I love that. And so I've always had this theory, and I want to run it by you and see what you think about it. But there is no true shortcut for wisdom and experience. You have to live life and you have to have those experiences. You have to take those bumps. But I've always said that who you surround yourself with is the closest thing you can get to a shortcut on to wisdom and experience. Because if I'm a brand new agent and I get to go kick it and spend time with you, and you can drop any knowledge bombs or experience bombs on me and say, hey, don't do that, do it this way. I learned the hard way. Like, I think that's the truest thing or the truest way, the closest you can find to a shortcut to wisdom and experience and time on task. What do you think about that?
I 100% agree. So in 2019, a gentleman by the name of Eddie joined my team. And I said, the only way that I will train you, because he was my title closer, is if you do everything I tell you to do. And I invested a ton of time in him that year. And he ended up closing 42 transactions his first year with me. And I went on a lot of those appointments. And yet I will tell you that, I mean, he was with me for 5 years on my team, and then we decided to go different ways because he went into more flipping and construction and I went into more coaching. And what's amazing though is he tells me all the time, his 6 years is like being in 15 because he got the shortcut of listening to my conversations, coming on presentations, listening to how I deal with conflict because of the amount of experience, the conversations, and frankly, the coaching experience and training that I've had has helped me propel, and so it just gave him a better shortcut.
Right. No, I think that's it. I think it is the only the cheat code to taking the knocks yourself is surrounding yourself by people who are not only experienced but open and willing to share. So the core concept of who you surround yourself with matters. I've always said that for the amount of experiences that I've got to have in real estate and the people I get to surround myself with is crazy for a guy who's marginally good at listing homes. You know, I wouldn't say I'm the best listing agent ever. I'm okay. I'm pretty good, but like it's all due to the rooms I put myself in and the people I surrounded myself with and showing up. So I love that. When you so sticking to this long journey, the 29 years of experience, what do you think is the biggest difference in Shannon today as opposed to Shannon? I won't say brand new agent Shannon because, just like brand new agent David, we didn't have a clue, right? But we'll say like year 2 Shannon versus year 29 Shannon. Like, what's the biggest difference?
And it was about me, and I think it was because I had littles and my world was this big, and all I wanted to do was sell and make as much money as possible. Today, I understand with the experience, the training and coaching that I've had, that it's about many, and it's about how do I help many people get what they want so I get what I want versus just helping myself get what I want.
Yeah, the abundant mindset, right? Thinking about helping others to help yourself. And no, I love that. Where do you think it shows up the most in your business today? Like, where do you think that this theory of abundance and success through others and pouring into others, like, where do you see it the most today?
I can experience a little bit in my real estate clients just because they I mean, most of my clients are high corporate people, and so we have the most high level leadership conversations that I probably would have never been able to have had I not gone on that journey. And then the other place really is in the conversations that I'm having with people that we're attracting to our team and our current team members and getting them to think different and understand that they can have whatever they want in this world. They just have to follow the success model.
Yeah. I love that. That's so great. And what a gift that they have to have someone of your caliber and experience pour into them and help them to better understand things because like I said, it's the only shortcut to wisdom and experience. All right, let's flip the script a little bit. Like we went through the decades of experience, and I kept hearing this theme of attraction and connection. Some call it recruiting, but I think recruiting in a nutshell is just being an attractor and a connector. So, talk to me about your journey in attraction and connection. What did you think it was when you started? What did it turn out to be? And then what did mastering it look like for you?
So I think it started out as a single agent attracting real estate clients and understanding how to ask the right questions, not necessarily to sell yourself, just to get in the right conversations to have opportunities. And then when I launched a franchise, even though we had somebody in that role, I didn't realize how easy it was for me to have those conversations with other people to tell our story. And then when I became a full-time, basically, recruiter, I loved it. I mean, I woke up every day excited about whose life do I get to go change. By the way, one of those was Shannon Dozer. I mean, I used to run into her all the time when I was in that role, David, and I would say, "Hey, gosh, I know you're selling some potted jewelry, and I think that's fantastic. And if you really want to make some money, please call me. I know I can help you." And understanding how to pull that productivity level to help people actually once they get in. It's not just attracting them, it's also attracting them with a story, with a way and a path for them to go create a life that they're actually excited about and proud of.
Yeah, you have to create that vision for them because a lot of times it's not that people lack vision or lack ambition. Depending on how they were raised and depending on what they've been around and what they've seen, they might just not be aware of what's possible.
Yeah. And I will tell you, you can't want it more than somebody else wants it for themselves. However, I see so much talent in people that they sometimes don't understand that they even have. And then unleashing that is really fun. And I will tell you, like when I was in that office, I mean, it was so much fun to bring in a $5 million producer and then coach them every other week and get them up to 10 in a year, right? We made so many strides in their businesses that I got addicted to helping other people get successful.
Yeah. Well, when you think about like unit counts and you think about selling of houses and we talk about people's goals, like sometimes it's easy to forget how much is attached to each one of those widgets or units, right? Meaning that that's a 3x opportunity to earn an income that they probably couldn't have earned anywhere else, right? Every commission, I always say it's the last frontier for ridiculously big checks is the real estate agent world. And giving someone the opportunity, teaching them to take their business from one and making it three, like that's game changing money for them and their family. Like that's starting a savings account that might not have existed. That's paying off a car, that's getting out of debt. There's so much attached to each of those deals, and to be able to guide someone through that must be so rewarding in helping them to understand that.
It is, as long as they're willing to buy in, and I'll tell you that's where Eddie really played well is his wife was pregnant, 8 months pregnant, and he walked out of his job and she wasn't going back to work when he came on full time. He had everything to lose. And literally, I mean, his first year, he replaced his title salary, which was right around 100,000. Then the next year he went up to 200. The next year he went up to 275. And I think his 5th year, he ended up right around 450. The amount of change that's happened in their family lives and in their generational wealth is so incredible, David, that I just sit back and go, this is awesome, right? It's so awesome to be a part of and watch them move up homes and create different businesses. And we flipped houses together a couple years and just everything that we did together and flourished together. First of all, he had to trust me. Secondly, he did do everything I asked him to do. And it's a really cool thing when you can help a family change their generational wealth.
Yeah. What do you think? What is that it factor? We talked about buy-in, we talked about trust. You've had thousands of recruiting conversations or attraction conversations where you sit down one-on-one and you talk about the potential of someone being in your world, whether it be on a team or in a market center or a brokerage office or beyond. What's the it factor? Like, what's the common denominator between the people who generally succeed and the ones who don't?
A lot of people go right into behavior here, and I don't really think it's behavior. because I will tell you that just like with him, I mean, he's a social and then he's a steady. And you wouldn't think that that would be this crazy successful kid right out of the chute. Well, what you also have to look at is what is their internal motivation and where are they going? So I look for tenacity, grit. I don't necessarily need somebody motivated. I want them to have a place where they're going in life, like a long term aspiration, where they have a big fat target and they know that they have to get up every day and go kill it. And also, the other it factor I'm looking for is somebody who's not afraid of structure, who will get up and go to work every day.
Yeah.
That's a
Yeah.
big one. In our world, it's a huge one. When I travel across the country and I teach the 12-week year and I go, "Okay, how many of you guys have a start time every single morning at the same time every day? You're in the office." And maybe 5 out of 100 realtors will raise their hand.
Yeah.
And I'm flabbergasted by that, David, because we start our huddle every day at 8:30 and I've done that for years. And you gotta be put together by 8:30. Not rolling in your PJs and your hair all whacked out, like, you gotta go to work.
Right. Yeah, because it doesn't happen by accident. It doesn't like every I mean, you any agent can fall into one deal, but 10 or more deals happens with purpose, and you have to really show up and work, and I've always thought the concept was a little bit, wild in itself that, people say, "I wanna make 250, 350 like, plus $1,000 a year," and it is very possible in the industry, but that's executive level money. That's CEO level money in most companies. I'm just curious, and I ask the question a lot of times, like, how would you expect to make CEO level income or ranking executive level income without putting CEO level hours in or executive level hours in? And because it's a legit question. You have to show up and you have to go to work. The same with attraction and connecting and recruiting is that the years of recruiting by influence are over. You can't just go, "Oh, people love me and I went here, I moved here, and then the droves are gonna follow me." It's purposeful effort. It doesn't mean it's insincere, it's just purposeful. Like, you have to really work to build a business. But, the favorite John Maxwell quote of all time, with all things worthwhile being uphill, like, it is, like, but why would you not expect it to be an uphill walk to get to $350,000 a year? So,
And I
those
will
things
tell you,
stand
I
with.
I believe it all happens on your calendar. So I tell realtors all the time, I can predict how much money you're gonna make if you show me your calendar for the next 2 weeks. And based on what they have scheduled on their calendar, you can figure it out. So, people get into this business for 3 reasons: the money, flexibility, and freedom. However, if they don't choose discipline first to get to the money, they'll never find the freedom and flexibility because they'll run out of money and go get a real job. So they're willing to go work 40 hours a week for someone else and show up at the same time every day and do the tasks involved, yet they're not willing to hire themselves for that job and go make unlimited money. And it always just perplexes me, which I think, David, it comes back to that grit, tenacity, and knowing where you're going and what you have to do to get there.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, all this is awesome. It's amazing. I mean, like, just to be able to pick the brain of someone with your experience and tenacity and personality and just you're one of my favorite people in the world. Let's transition to the 12-week year.
Okay.
Let's talk about because we're talking about scheduling, we're talking about priorities, we're talking about doing the things that matter the most. You are a licensed instructor for the 12-week year, correct?
Yep. Yep.
What does that entail? Like, what does that look like?
So, first of all, I was being coached, and it was right after Eddie joined me. So it was the beginning of 2019. He joined me the end of 2018. And we had a big goal that year of hitting 20 million, or no, I'm sorry, 30 million, which were three of us, three selling people. And our average price at the time was probably 225. So that's a lot of units. And by the end of the first quarter, I was having my quarterly review with my coach. And he's like, "Wow, you've closed a whopping 3.8 million and your goal's 30. You've got a giant gap." And I was whining and I was complaining and I had some personal stuff going on, David. And he said, "I'm done with this conversation. You need to go read this book and implement it." And I'm done. So I got off the phone, I ordered the books, I did everything wrong. We did a book club, we did one chapter a week, except the one thing that we did right was we decided I worked my way backwards and said, okay, well, what do we have to do in the next 12 weeks to get on track to hit our 30 million? We set a goal of 45 pendings and 30 listings taken in the next 12 weeks. Now, keep in mind, we only did 17 deals the first quarter. We went to work every day. We looked at our pipeline every day. We used our planner every day. And I coached them every week based on their activities. And I said, okay, here's your prescription of your lead generation. These are your 3 tactics, and that's it for the week. We ended up doing 46 pendings and we took 29 listings.
Wow.
So
What a
that
what a
launched.
crazy improvement.
Oh, it was nuts. And so we ended up that year closing 29.1 million. So had
Wow.
we done our job
Just
the
short.
first quarter,
Just short.
we would have done like 36 million, right? So that got us really excited about the 12-week year. And so we did 19 consecutive 12-week years on my team. And it literally got so easy that it was just Eddie and I, and we would each do 14 to 16 transactions, pendings every 12 weeks. And then we started having fun with it. We're like, okay, now we're bored. Let's go flip 2 houses in 12 weeks. Now let's go buy a rental in this 12 weeks. And let's go do different types of things in 12 weeks. And then I ran into Brian Moran at a convention and I was telling him about my 12-week year experience. And he really encouraged me to go through the certification process, which is going through classes with him and Michael. And getting to know them was really cool and understanding like the depth of it. Because when you read the book, it's a consulting book in business, it has nothing to do with real estate. When you take the class that they wrote, and then somebody morphs the real estate in it with those specific tactics and goals, it is so incredibly powerful.
Yeah. It's so applicable to the real estate world
It
or
is.
the agent world or the team world, and even the recruiting world, honestly.
Yeah. So a lot of things that I do even in my personal life. I mean, one 12-week year, I shed 30 pounds because that was my one win for my personal goal that 12-week year.
Okay, you gave us earlier, you broke down 29 years in like 3 minutes. So what's the 12-week year? It's what, 270 pages maybe?
I don't even know.
Break down how many? See how good I was.
About 200.
See, even break down 200 pages of the 12-week year in like a minute for us. Give us the key concept.
One key concept is you have to get out of the quarterly thinking and the annual thinking because what they noticed was most of the businesses did more business in the fourth quarter of either fiscal or annual year than they did in 2 previous quarters. And it
Yeah,
was because it had a deadline.
right.
And so, first of all, don't ever start it on the beginning of a quarter. You want to start it in the middle of a month. Like all the teams that I coach, we start it on odd times all the time because you want to power through the end of the year and not wake up on January 1st as a realtor and go, oh God, how do I ever climb this mountain again in volume and transactions?
Yeah,
We take all of that mindset out. So we start with a long term aspiration, meaning that, we've been trained on the big why. The big why is what powers you when you get up in the morning to really hit the ground running and do your best. Well, that's great, except where are you going? So long-term aspiration is what what is your definition of when you don't have to grind anymore? Meaning that your passive income is a certain amount, your life is a certain amount. What do your relationships look like? Your spirituality? What are your investments? What is your net worth? What is all of that? Where are you going? And then you break it down to 3 years, meaning that if I'm going to be on that path, what do I have to have accomplished? And this is when the how comes in. Because the what if is the long term aspiration, the how comes in the 3 year. Now, what do I have to be in order to get that money, that relationship, those investments, whatever it is, your lifestyle, your vacations, your vacation homes, whatever it is, in 3 years. And then it comes down to 12 weeks. Now, what do I have to do just in 12 weeks so that I'm in alignment with that long term aspiration? And then we take it all the way down to the day.
yeah.
This is what you have to do today so that you get your big life someday if you stay focused and do your daily tasks.
What do you think about the 12, or what do you think is the like, because the secret sauce to like the 12-week year trainings helping people to conceptually take big things into bite-sized chunks? Like, what is like, why does that help more people break through?
When you look at every different way to do real estate, like let's just say lead generation, how many different ways is there to lead generate in this business, David?
It's a lot.
There's a lot, right? So a lot of realtors come in and they go, well, I'm going to do this, and I'm going to do this, and I'm going to do this, and I'm going to do this. And literally, when you break it down to say you only get three tactics, meaning if your goal is 12 pendings this 12-week year, what is the one lever that you can pull that's going to get you the most pendings of all the different things we put on mind mapping? And then if you can only add one more tactic, what is going to get you there? And the most tactics we ever say are three.
Yeah, and honestly, most people get so lost in that giant list of things to do or the possibilities that they do 0. They do like, you'd go, "Oh, I have 1,000 to choose from, it should be easy," and they just go, "I just did nothing." Right? I hoped, I said a prayer, I was, waiting for a deal to fall in my lap. So giving them that very concise tool belt and saying, "Here's the tool you're gonna use." I imagine that has a side effect too, because they probably get pretty proficient in those 2 or 3 tools as well, because they're not hopping in it for one day, coming back 6 months later. They're sharpening every single day.
Yeah. And when you look at a 12-week year, I mean, a 12 weeks is a year, a week is a month, a day is a week. You don't have any time to waste. It squeezes out all of the junk. And if you're really tracking your execution score, which, Brian and Michael say if you hit 85%, you're going to smash your goals. In fact, a lot of people hit 70% of their tasks every day and they beat their goals.
Right.
If you track your score and are willing to do it, you will have outstanding results because the dopamine high that you get when you get that 85% is amazing. And then you look at your week, figure it out, what worked, what didn't work, regroup for the next week. It takes 15 minutes to plan a week.
Yeah.
In your activities, you calendar them, and then you work.
Well, I've always said that there's people go, majority of people hate stepping on a scale, right? But do you know the person who loves stepping on a scale? Is the person who's been doing the work it takes to get to a fitness goal and know that they're gonna be 10 pounds less. Like, that person's excited to step on the scale, right? So I think there's this double-edged thing about accountability, to where a lot of times people think accountability is painful, and accountability is painful, and it can be painful when you're not doing what you're supposed to be doing. But man, accountability, like you said, does create a dopamine rush and does like give you renewed energy when you do the things you're supposed to be doing, right? And you're hitting those percentage points. I think that's something that's overlooked. That's the thing about accountability, has such negative connotations to it, but it really can be a positive and uplifting thing when you're hitting the metrics.
So Brian and Michael talk about it in the book, and then they really talk about it in the class. And that is that accountability is actually, it's just a character trait. Either you are an accountable person or you're not. You can't hold somebody accountable. You can hold them capable. And so people have this negative, it all comes with, bad things. Are we going to hold this athlete accountable and negative connotations? And that's not really true. It's either it's a character trait. Are you an accountable person? I mean, when I was shedding those 30 pounds that 12-week year, I couldn't wait to get on the scales every day because I couldn't wait. And I literally, I wrote my weight on my mirror every morning, David. I was a psycho going, I'm going down, I'm going down, I'm going down. And now, frankly, I mean, I've kept it off for years. I still like getting on the scale. I'm one of those crazies because I'm like, yes, I'm still there.
Yeah.
Right. Like I do hot yoga almost every morning and I love that because I feel like I'm winning when I check
Yeah.
in.
You do the scale after hot yoga, of course, like
I'll
after.
go
Oh, I it seems like it would be a cheat code to do it after, because, like, after all the water weight is gone. Um, no, that's amazing, and I love that about accountability too, because it's such a true statement. Um, when running my teams and stuff, we have the conversation a lot of what is accountable and what is not accountable, and me saying, "Hey, Shannon, I'll allow you on our weekly coaching call to call me out if I don't do something," doesn't make me accountable, right? Like if you have to chase me down for my numbers, I'm not being accountable, right? Being accountable is turning in your numbers. Being accountable is checking your own stats. Being accountable is knowing exactly what you're going to say before I get there, because it's just it is a different mindset. And I think you're right. People either are or they aren't. And I think also too, even if you're not naturally wired to be accountable, you just have to build structure in your life that, and not necessarily forces accountability, because if someone's not naturally accountable, I don't think they're ever going to be 100% accountable. But if they get to, as you said, 60%, 70%, that's a big difference.
Well, I would tell you most realtors run at about 50, 25%.
You're not going to get any disagreement from me.
Mm-mm.
That's for sure. Um, okay, so this is awesome. So the 12-week year. So what does it look like being a coach and an instructor for a 12-week year? You're traveling the country and you're teaching, and you're putting a real estate type focus on it. Like what do the classes look like?
They're usually like 9 to 3. And basically, what I've done is I use the author's class, which is a business format of consulting. And then when it comes to like goals and tactics and mind mapping, all of that, then I bring in all of the examples from coaching in my own business for years. And it really helps because, whether you're a new agent, an experienced agent, a team agent, a rainmaker, I have all those different tactics and goals, separated out so that they can go, oh, that's where I am. That's the bucket that I need to live in. And then it just makes it so crystal clear when they leave, they have a plan. So I've coached a couple big teams that the teams have brought all their members into the class. This is when it's the most effective, by the way. So there was a gentleman in North Carolina, John Bolos, the Bolos Group, and it was I think it was the end of 22. He brought his whole team in, like 15 people, took the 12-week year class, and then I started coaching them on the 12-week year the next year. Well, they went from, I think it was 87 million to 130 million in 1 year. They didn't hire a lot of people. It was literally having to come every week, fill out the spreadsheet. How many appointments did you have? How many pendings did you have? Doing high focus on simplifying the tactics and the strategies for the week. And literally they went up 38 million in 1 year. Whatever that math is. It was maybe it's 92 to 130 million. It was a lot. And then I have another team that did the same thing. And in 2023, no, in 2022, they did 270 transactions. They all took the class with me the end of 23. Is that right? 22. In 23, they did 330. Nope, I'm sorry. That was the end of 23. 24, they did 330. This year, we're on track to break 475.
Oh my gosh.
Now,
What a
they have hired, they have top graded, and literally, I'm leading the team as a sales director, and they have to report the numbers to me every week in front of all their peers. Well, when you have to do that, there's no hiding.
right.
It really is a positive experience because there's a lot of people winning on this team. I mean, the first 12-week year that we did, they did 47 pendings. 2 years later, last 12-week year, which was the 7th one, same team did 169 pendings. They just became Zillow Flex, David. So now who knows, like, where this team is gonna go from here.
200, 300, 400.
And I so wish I would have made a deal with the rainmaker. Can I just get a percentage of profit
Yeah.
versus my monthly fee? Because I would be making a lot of money right now. And truly, it's been so fun, though, to partner with these rainmakers and just let the team run the system. The
Yeah.
system of the execution scores and the simple tactics and reporting numbers every week causes people to want to win. And they don't want to let their team members down. So we put them in little tiny groups. They're called WAM groups, weekly accountability meetings, and they have to meet and tell each other their accountability, their execution scores, and how they did. And so having all of that lets nobody hide,
Yeah.
and then
No,
great happens.
I love that. And when it comes into the culture of accountability, and I love that you said it was Holus, right? Brian? And then what was the name of the team?
Close.
Holus. Yeah, yeah. So bringing your whole team to a mastermind, bringing your whole team, like that's just such a big move, and also another one of those cheat codes because, like, it allows you not to have to play the telephone game, right? Because as a leader, you go to this thing, you take it all in, and you go, "Hey guys, let me tell you about the 12-week year. We're going to adopt it." And even they might be very effective and efficient at delivering the message, but you're very trained and well versed in it, so you are going to deliver it better just by time on task and practice. So by the time it gets to the team, it's not the same message, but now you have this opportunity to create excitement and an identity for the team as well around this new core concept. So I think that's a really big move for someone to take that level of buy-in.
It is a huge leverage piece for the rainmaker. That's what it is. I mean, it is, and if you asked any of the teams that I've coached on the 12-week year, I mean, it's made it easy for them because they literally say, "Show me your planner, show me your activities, how's your execution score, show me your pipeline," and that's their coaching. It takes all the junk away, it takes all the excuses away, and you're literally just there with your tenacity and your grit to make money for your family.
Okay, so one more little pivot. So you and I, we grew up in the same type of world. We were both with Keller Williams for a decade for me and a couple of decades for you. And, you know, the real estate landscape has changed so much with technology. Honestly, the makeup of your average agent has changed dramatically too. There was one point in time where almost every one of your agents were full-time people that went into a brokerage and spent the whole day there, right? And the brokerage was the controller of the listings, and they would give you a book, and that book would tell you what was for sale and what was not for sale. And now we're in this new world of part-time agents and quasi like side hustle agents, and we still have full-time agents and big teams, and we're in the era of the most educated consumer ever,
Mhm.
right? A lot of times, like, we'll walk into houses and the consumer will, or my client might know more about that house via Zillow than I do, right? And that's a wild thing that's never happened before. We grew up in the Keller Williams ecosystem or spent so much time there, which is a franchise style brokerage, meaning it lives and breathes and lives around the brick and mortar institution set up in different locations based on agent count. And each one of those separate brick and mortar locations have a different kind of ruling party, which is ruled by another ruling party, which is all kind of ruled by like this overarching company that serves all their franchisors or franchisees. Sorry. So we've both kind of put our feet into this new ocean of the single entity or cloud-based brokerage would be your reals or your exps or where we live in an LPT. What has been the biggest shock for you in what's possible in this new era of real estate with this new era of brokerages?
First of all, I think that it takes all the boundaries away, meaning that if we talk to somebody that's 3 hours away from us and they do business like we do and they're really lonely in a smaller town, we know that now we have the ability to pull them into our team and expand. I mean, we have no boundaries of how big or where we can build. In our old ecosystem, it became a big problem because there was so much friction between the market centers and the caps and a full cap or a partial cap or whatever it was, or who's recruiting from who. All of that's gone. All the friction's gone. So the amount of opportunity, I think now, especially in LPT, where real estate first, not recruiting, which I think is really important. It's all about real estate. I mean, I know that Robert and the executive team and you and all of us are very clear that big teams is where the future is. And as we look at big teams, that's people's shortcut. If you're new and you're getting licensed right now, your shortcut is to go get on somebody's team that can help fast forward your career and knowledge as fast as possible.
Yeah. Well, and it's always been important. And I think that, and it's not to say there's anything wrong with the franchise model or with, it's just different. It's a different model that was actually really innovative, 10 years ago. It was a thing that like hadn't been seen. The industry, the agent, the world has evolved since then, and these newer brokerages are, or these restructured brokerages, you might say, these single entity brokerages are just better adapt to create that frictionless environment like you were talking about. Because, in our world, like previously at Keller Williams, we had a lot of times you had teams that were actually profiting 3, 4, 5 times the amount of the market center. And this market center was, and it's not to say the market center was wrong or the model was wrong. It's just the fact that like you've outgrown that structure. And once you have someone getting that big in your ecosystem, they're gonna like there just becomes friction, like you said, or conflict. So this world where there is no controlling entities, everyone's on in one sandbox. You do have the opportunity for me to come to you, and if we have similar visions and similar paths that we're going to walk, we can partner together in a way that doesn't require any oversight or permissions, which is a really, really fascinating thing. And it's the biggest thing that shocked to me was to go, wow, man, like this is really where entrepreneurs thrive. This is really where people who want to think outside the box and reimagine what a real estate team might be or a real estate organization might be can really, really thrive because it is frictionless and it is built to meet the agents where they are, like you said. The average agent is just trying to sell one more house. So to be part of a company that is very much real estate focused is an amazing thing. And to be part of a model in the single entity brokerage where you can just get out there and do your thing the way that you want to do it, it's been really cool and refreshing.
And I will tell you that the education and training and development that I got to be a part of at Keller is the most amazing journey I could have ever been on in my world of education. It truly was. It also came with enough stress though that it blew up my colon.
Yeah.
And so the 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 leadership and everybody that I got to be a part of in the magical time, and it was absolutely freaking magical, was amazing. The problem is they haven't kept up with the future of real estate. And so when you look at, the cloud bases started coming out, and I was really hesitant about cloud, David, I gotta tell you, I was really hesitant because I didn't believe in some of the people that they were putting here and some of the things that were going on, and as a recruiting coach, right, I look at all the models, and I look at all the holes, and I look at I've talked to a lot of different people, and I haven't seen a model until now that I could buy into even more of where I call home.
Yeah.
And I I mean, as many people as I've talked to, and I mean, not just from Keller Williams, obviously, right? Like all different companies, it is amazing how they really don't even understand that this company has the ability to meet them wherever they are and help them go wherever they choose to go.
Yeah. And that's the real estate reimagined portion. That is the thing because I don't think it's the fault of any like franchise brokerage owner. It's just the fact that it's just simple. The industry has evolved past the models of old. And if you think because we're speaking a lot about Keller Williams because that's kind of where we lived for so long and we have a just an intimate understanding of it. But there were models prior to Keller Williams which became antiquated and outdated. And it wasn't to any fault of the great people that operated them. It was just the fact that you have to be in alignment and part of something that has the flexibility to evolve and change with the changing dynamics of the industry and also the changing dynamics of the agent who is the person that each brokerage serves.
And when you're an owner and you're on the hook for a big fat rent every single month, and we built our own commercial building, we were paying ourselves rent. I will tell you the stress of that, and there's just not the money in it that it used to be way back when bricks and mortar were so incredibly important. The profit isn't there today that it was 10 years ago or 20 years ago. So now you look at, I mean, let's take KW out of it. Let's look at all the brokerages out there that still are really heavy in brick and mortar. David, they're going to be in trouble. And the unfortunate thing is they're on the hook for these giant leases. I mean, I sold out of my franchise in 15 because I saw the writing on the wall when they wanted me to break out a big business center and make it be its own market center. And I knew that it would never profit again because we were on the edge of the city. And without that opportunity, it was gone. Well, there are going to be so many offices and companies out there that are going to hit that wall of, oh my gosh, what do? I have this giant lease. And I don't know how to figure this out because I'm not profiting. And if they would go sell real estate and build a team, they would have the ability to make so much more money than owning a brokerage.
Yeah, the times have changed. Well, Shannon, I can't thank you enough. This has been amazing. You and I are friends outside of this conversation, and to have someone like you in my world with such a wealth of experience and knowledge and just I don't know, it's just so powerful. So I appreciate you very much in our relationship, but I also appreciate you taking the time out today to come share with everyone all the stuff that you know, right? And all the things that you've seen. And I want to make sure that we share with your socials out with everyone so they know where to find you if they want to bring 12-week year to their city, right?
Yes.
To their team. And, I haven't actually asked your permission yet, but I think we should put out some sort of little mini webinar where we talk about some of the concepts of the 12-week year, maybe like a teaser. We don't want to give any way of any of the actual information from the class, but that way people could understand it better. Would you be open to something like that?
I absolutely would. I'm actually speaking at a meeting in Little Rock for a women's retreat soon, where I've cut it down to just kind of an hour, like, mini workshop, David, so people can kinda get the concept and the understanding of it without having a lot of Brian's talks. And I just wanna end this or kinda reciprocate here that I've enjoyed getting to know you, and it's been really fun to partner and help each other with growth and recruiting because I've learned a lot from you, so thank you.
Of course, of course. Thank you for your time, and I'll see you soon. Okay.
Okay, thank you.